We are Blackmore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
After a grueling week on the road, today the Tigers return to the comforts of home. The longest homestand of the season begins. 10 games in 9 days where the Tigers play their best baseball. It's also a chance for the club to draw a little bit closer to the division-leading Chicago White Sox. Welcome to Comerica Park. We're in downtown Detroit today. Game 1 of this doubleheader featuring the Chicago White Sox and your Detroit Tigers. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Rod Allen, glad to have you with us for the first of 2 here this afternoon. And Rod, a chance for the Tigers to beat up on these White Sox now. This is the first of 14 remaining between these two teams, so there's no doubt the Tigers still close enough and still have a chance.
Well, they're going to have to play their best baseball because this White Sox team right now is clicking on all cylinders. And if you look at where the White Sox were a couple of months ago, this gives you hope. The Tigers have 14 games remaining against the White Sox, 8 of which are right here at comfortable Comerica Park. They play 6 on the south side of Chicago. They also have quite a few games with the Minnesota Twins, and they play several teams with less than a 500 record. So if you're Detroit, this is about the time that you really have to start thinking about winning series because you can't split series anymore. You've got to win all your series.
All right, now as far as the Tigers lineup is concerned, they got a little bit of a boost in that Boston series with the trade of Johnny Peralta coming over to the Tigers from Cleveland. He really had a nice series in Boston.
Well, give Lloyd McClendon a lot of that credit. Lloyd McClendon was watching Peralta take batting practice before he played his very first game, and he noticed that his front hip was open too much, so he told him to close that front hip. When you do that, you get much better stabilization with your lower half. You've got a quicker bat. He played long ball his first couple of times in the batter's box as a Tiger, and then he chipped in a big base hit on Sunday, and it looked like the Tigers may have come back to win that game, but of course they lost that game in the bottom of the ninth, so Johnny Peralta has been as good as advertised.
So game 1 of this doubleheader between the Tigers and the White Sox just moments away. In the meantime, we go back to the Call Sam studio now with more on our coverage. Here's Mickey York. Chicago White Sox, presented by Honda Bluefield. Juan Pierre leads in outfield play in left field, followed by Omar Vizquel and then Alex Rios. Paul Konerko is at first base. Carlos Quentin in right field. Mark Kotsay, the DH. Their bottom three is Ramirez, Pierzynski, and then Gordon Beckham. Here's the scouting report on Tigers right-hander Rick Porcello. It is presented today by Scott's Lawn Pro.
Well, time for Porcello to show up against the Chicago White Sox team. In his career, he's 0-3 with an earned run average that's approaching 10, and he does need a little help. In his 3 starts since coming back from Toledo, only 2 runs per game his offense has gotten him. And one other thing to keep an eye on, he needs to keep his infielders involved. When Porcello's at his best, he's getting lots of ground balls, which means the defenders are staying on their toes.
It is a warm, humid day today for baseball. The first of 2 today between these 2 teams, Tigers and the White Sox. First pitch of the ball game is a strike called on Juan Pierre. Vizquel and then Rios to follow. Tigers come in at .500. The Chicago White Sox at 59-45. Pierre fouls it back and quickly 0-2. 82 degrees our game time temperature for game 1. Glad to have you along here this afternoon. Juan Pierre batting .264. He's hit safely in his last 8 straight. Keeping him off the base is imperative. Porcello misses high off the glove. To the backstop it goes. Juan Pierre has been relatively hot of late, 6 for his last 12. And he also leads the league in stolen bases. There's a ball that's knocked down by Cabrera. Quick flip, and he is out at first base. And what a play by Porcello to nip Pierre at the wire. What a flip by Cabrera.
As a pitcher, you know you've got one job to do and one job only. And if you're Porcello, if you hesitate for one moment, Juan Pierre will beat you to the bag. It was a bang-bang play, as we witnessed, but you take a look at Porcello. As soon as the ball went off Cabby's glove, he was on his way toward first base, and it looked like he just got Juan.
That's as close as it gets at first base. Porcello did a nice job getting off the mound, and so they keep the speedy Pierre off the bases. Here is Omar Vizquel, the veteran infielder, playing third base these days with the injury to Mark Teahan. .417 over his last 16 games. 2-0 on Vizquel.
And when Vizquel's career is all said and done, he will end up in the Hall of Fame. That's how good he has been throughout his big league career. He has been a tremendous glove man.
Jim Leland said a couple of weeks ago, as the topic of Vizquel came up, that he is the best shortstop that Jim has seen, and I would concur. I mean, this guy has been able to do some marvelous things. He'll roll this one to the second baseman Rayburn, and there are 2 gone.
Let's take a look at the Tigers, the rest of the Tigers defensively. You know, Rayburn is at second. You know, Cabrera is over at first, where he is on most days. And the outfielders, they have 23 assists this year, which is tied for the most in the American League with the very talented and hot Minnesota Twinkies.
Tigers have the rookie Jeff Frazier making the start in left field. We saw him DHing in Boston his first couple of games. Alex Rios, the batter, he is the center fielder and just 1 for his last 18. Yet he is still batting .300. Rios has turned out to be a nice pickup for the White Sox. Many were criticizing the pickup last year because of the money that he was owed and wasn't really having a great season.
And one of the reasons why he has been so good this year, at the recommendation of his hitting coach, Greg Walker, he's gotten his hands back down in an area where he was a few years ago when playing for the Toronto Blue Jays, when doing lots of damage. I don't think there's another right-handed hitter in the game that holds their hands as low as Rios does.
Well, he's knocked in 60 this year. He's hit 16 home runs.
He and Paul Konerko probably have been their most consistent offensive performers this year.
Bouncing ball hit to the right side. Rayburn will get over there. Straightens himself out and throws out Rios. 3 ground ball outs for Rick Porcello. That's a good sign, and that's a good start. Our good friends at Big Boy, Jim Leland has turned in his card. It looks like this: Jackson, Damon, Frazier, your top three. Cabrera cleaning up, followed by Peralta. He will be the third baseman today. Brennan Bosch is dipping down a spot in the lineup. Then Rayburn, Laird, and Worth. And they are facing the left-hander Mark Burley, the veteran left-hander. Jackson is hitting .306 to start things off. 1 home run this year. But it's been quite a season for Austin. 118 hits, leads all American League rookies. Burley's 2-0 offering. 2 balls and 1 strike. You got to be ready when Burley's on the mound. He gets it and throws it. In fact, his starts are averaging 2 hours 36 minutes this year. Here's the 2-1. Make it 2-2 now on Jackson. 4 hits on the road trip for Austin. He has really started to pick things up. Went through a little bit of a lull, but he's hit safely in 26 of his last 30 as he makes his way through his first big league campaign. Perked up a little bit in the month of July. Hit .314 in July. Fouled away again. It's hard to believe the month of August is here now, and so we are approaching the home stretch here in the 2010 season. 2-2. Bouncing ball back up the middle. It'll get through. Base hit. Leadoff single for Jackson. The Bernstein Advantage brings you the scouting report on Mark Burley. Get the Bernstein Advantage. We go to bat for you.
And when you step in that batter's box, as Mario said, you need to be ready because Burley's one of those guys that grabs it and throws it. He's also better than you think. Since coming to the big leagues in 2001, he's won 140 games, which ranks 4th in MLB. And since his perfect game, I should say, last year, he's kind of stubbed his toe 11-15 with an earned run average approaching 4.5. Impossible to run on most days unless you're simply guessing when he's going home. He fields his position very well. He's won a Gold Glove. Really good pitcher.
Jackson has stolen 16 out of 20 attempts this year.
I also noticed Przinsky is throwing the baseball a whole lot better this year than in recent memory. His percentage is not all that bad.
Missed it high. 1 ball to no strikes. Good to see Johnny Damon back in the lineup after some back problems. Jim Leland was concerned that both Damon and Worth might not be able to go today, but the day off did wonders.
And he threatened them both with going on the DL. That'll perk you up, get you on the field.
Get you back in the lineup for sure.
Especially in Danny's case. You want to take advantage of your opportunities when you're a young player in the big leagues. Johnny with real good numbers against Burley. 283. And yes, that's good against Mark. Five pickoffs for Burley this year.
2-1 on Damon. Johnny had 4 hits on the trip. They were really disappointed in Boston. They were marking the return of Johnny Damon, who won a world championship with the Red Sox, and he wasn't able to play. Here's the 2-1. That's lifted foul, back out of play.
Burley, nothing really fancy. You know, he cuts his fastball. He sinks his fastball. He's got a curve. He's got a cutter. He's got a changeup. Changes speeds on just about everything that he throws, and he usually works on the outer edges. He's got that kind of command. And he never, ever shakes his catcher off. When Przinsky puts a sign down, Burley simply throws whatever he puts down.
Slap to left field. Juan Pierre is there. And Jackson will retreat. 1 gone. Well, you saw that graphic. Left-handers are batting .303 this year against Mark Burley.
And Burley usually does not feel all that comfortable throwing his changeup to the left-handed batters, and that's why left-handers limit his production against them anyway.
There's Jeff Frazier batting in the 3 spot today. Also playing in left field. On the ground to third. Vizquel to second one, and there's a double play. It goes 5-4-3, inning over. We'll go to the second, game 1. No score. Here in the Motor City today. We mentioned it's 82 degrees at game time. A little bit humid, but great baseball weather nonetheless. And a great opportunity with the Tigers battling the first place Chicago White Sox. It'll be Paul Konerko, Carlos Quentin, and Mark Kotsay here in the second, facing Rick Porcello. He got his patented ground ball outs, 3 of them in the first inning. Konerko batting .297. Strike one. Konerko's knocked in 72 runs this year. He's had quite a season, 25 homers as well, and that's good for 3rd in the American League. Here's the 0-1 pitch. In the air, shallow right field. Brennan Bosch coming in. 1 gone. By the way, this game is available in crystal clear, high definition on Fox Sports Detroit HD, sponsored by Comcast. 4 up, 4 down against Porcello. That'll bring up Carlos Quentin. Quentin batting .237. He's hit 20 home runs. So that 4-5 in Ozzie Guillen's lineup, knocking in some runs this year. Konerko and Quentin. Big swing, 0-1.
Quentin's been doing most of his damage lately, because when we saw them a couple of months ago when we were in Chicago, he was not performing all that well. But now with 20 home runs and 67 RBIs, he has kind of helped Rios and Konerko with some of the heavy lifting in Ozzie Guillen's lineup.
Yeah, I guess really I should add Rios to that middle of the lineup. 3, 4, and 5 have been great.
They've got to keep him healthy. He is a critical part of their lineup, but for whatever reason, he has a good week and a bad week. And they also need some consistency out of Carlos Quentin.
Here's the 0-2. Well, he has been somewhat of a Tigers killer. In fact, in his last 10 games against Detroit, he has a .421 average. Really, their entire team has been Tiger killers. The Tigers have really not been able to beat the Chicago White Sox team, whether it be here or in Chicago. Hey, nice start for Porcello. That's 5 up, 5 down, and that's his first strikeout.
But this homestand and this series is critical for Detroit, that they take 3 of 4.
Yeah, as we talked about at the top of the show, there are 14 games remaining with this White Sox team, but you certainly have to win as many of these home games against them as possible. And a chance to cut into that lead with a good series.
It's not that this team, I'm talking about the White Sox, are getting it done from an offensive standpoint, and their hitters don't really show up in the top 10 in offensive categories, but they've pitched very well, and that's the reason why they're in first place as we speak. Good defense and pitching, and some timely hitting.
There was some thought that Ozzie Guillen was hoping for another bat at the trading deadline. Instead, they got Edwin Jackson, who will fit into the rotation as well, and he will pretty much replace Jake Peavy. So that starting 5 pretty good.
Well, Jackson gives them a power pitcher. When Jackson is good, he is really good. We saw that. And you need power pitching if you're going to get into the postseason and play deep into the postseason. I talked to Edwin today, and he said, I thought I had seen you for the last time this year. He's not sporting that Frohawk this time around, though.
The Frohawk, that's right.
A little bit more clean cut. A little conservative cut for Edwin.
3-2 on Kotsay. Kotsay, a veteran. He's been around a while, DHing today, but he has struggled. 3 for his last 31. Porcello's 3-2.
Porcello has looked real good since coming back from the minor leagues. He's not giving away a lot of walks. He's pounding the strike zone. He's attacking the hitters, and he's pitching with a lot more confidence.
You know what else he's done is he's kept the hits total in check, and that's something we talked about earlier this year. His problem was he was giving up way too many hits.
Yeah, 11.
But in his last 2 starts, only 5 hits in each of those last 2 starts.
Outstanding. Now he's got to get a little help from his offensive players.
And a bouncing ball hit to the right side. Cabrera on the backhand. Porcello again will cover. And it's another 1-2-3 inning. 6 up, 6 down against Rick. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. Today, no score. Burley and Porcello going at it here this afternoon. Cabrera leads it off, facing Mark Burley. Cabrera, Peralta, and Brennan Bosch. Burley gave up a single to start the first, but then got a double play. Cabrera takes outside. What a month of July it was for Miguel Cabrera. He just finished a mammoth month. He hit nearly 400 in the month of July, 398. And he takes strike 1, 2 and 1.
More than likely, he's not going to win Player of the Month, though. That honor probably is going to go to Delman Young of the Minnesota Twins, who hit .430 and drove in 30 runs.
Eesh. Well, he's pretty much a shoo-in, I would think.
Pretty close.
Cabrera had 23 RBIs last month to go with his .398 average. 3-1 pitch is right back to the mound and knocked down. Ramirez still throws him out.
Cabrera almost had his first hit in his career against Mark Burley, but we told you that Burley is a stellar defender with really quick reflexes, and Cabby hits an absolute seed right back up the middle. He knocks it down, and Alexi Ramirez, who I've been told by several people in Chicago's camp is playing shortstop about as well as any shortstop in baseball these days. What a play.
Well, that certainly was a good play. Burley, a Gold Glove winner last year. There's a high fly ball to right field. Carlos Quinton coming in. And Peralta is out, 2 gone. Burley is 31 years old, out of St. Charles, Missouri. Still lives there in the offseason. 10 wins, 9 consecutive years. He is trying to get there again this season to make it 10 straight years. Bosch stands in his way right now with 2 outs in the second.
And there's only one other pitcher that has accomplished that. 10 wins in 10 years, and that would be CC Sabathia, the other. That's a select group.
Roll to first base, right at Konerko. Easy out. 3 up, 3 down, 2 in the books. No score. in West Michigan.
Well, Brandon's one of those guys that can play in pain. I don't think he'll be 100% healthy if he does come back as soon as tomorrow, which he says he might do, but he's a real good player for this team.
Well, Inch says tonight will be a big night.
Go up there, play tonight, get some at-bats, and I'm going to take it upon myself to feel like if I can help the team, I'm going to come back. If I feel like I'm a little sluggish and my at-bats aren't very good, I might stay down there another day, you know, possibly come back the next day. So best case scenario for me, if I feel great tonight, I'm coming back tomorrow.
And that certainly would be a welcome addition to the Tigers lineup. I can't believe how quickly he would be able to get back if indeed he is in the lineup tomorrow.
He'll be back tomorrow. We know Brandon.
Alexi Ramirez leading it off as we go to the third, facing Rick Porcello in a scoreless game. Meanwhile, Johnny Peralta playing third today, and you know where he'll end up. He has played a lot of short with the Indians, so more than likely he'll slide over to that shortstop position. Bouncing ball left side, deep in the hole. Danny Worth has a tough play, and he'll have no chance. Infield single for Alexi Ramirez. It'll be the first hit of the game for Chicago.
And Porcello continues to do what he came into this game wanting to do, and that's get lots of ground balls. Just about every single White Sox hitter has pounded that real good sinker into the turf.
Pierzynski batting .237. Since the All-Star break, he has really struggled offensively. AJ at .184 since the break, but day in and day out, he gives Ozzie Guillen 9 innings. He has caught a lot of innings this year. He shows bunt.
And it looked like he was up there sacrificing. Did not look like he was up there trying to bunt for a base hit. And Pierzynski has grounded into 10 double plays this year. And as we told you, Porcello throwing lots of ground balls already this afternoon. This could be a hit and run count for Ozzie Guillen, though, if he chooses to put a runner in motion.
Pitch out. Tigers perhaps thinking the same thing.
He was, no question about that. Or he wouldn't have pitched out.
2-0 on A.J. Pierzynski. 4 sacrifices this year for A.J. There's only one catcher in the American League that has caught more innings, and that would be Jason Kendall. Now it's 3-0.
You be careful here. You have to throw a quality strike, but make sure you locate it. It's not a given that Pierzynski's not swinging here. 3 balls and no strikes.
He's taking strike one, 3-1 on Pierzynski, who was one of the names that we heard quite a bit when the Tigers were in Chicago and the White Sox were floundering. They were buried in the standings. They thought that maybe some of the veteran pieces would be sold off. And the turnaround happened quite quickly. The runner goes, and it's bounced to second base. Only one play for Rayburn. So Pierzynski is out. Advance Ramirez.
It allows them to stay out of the double play. It's a 3-1 count, and it's ball 4, or either it's the ball put in play, which means they only get the 1 out.
Here's Gordon Beckham, who has really come on. Beckham, 397 in his last 19 games. He was really struggling to start the year.
You've got to give Kenny Williams a lot of credit, the general manager, because most general managers with a young player like Beckham struggling the way that he was struggling when we were there at the beginning of June, they would have found themselves in the minor leagues, but he knew what he had in Beckham. They stuck with him, and he has gotten it together. And now he's playing some pretty good baseball for the White Sox.
Beckham, as a matter of fact, on this tear has raised his average from 205 to 245. And you see the breakdown of his start. The month of May just wasn't going real well.
He was a shortstop collegiately at Georgia, but when the White Sox decided to bring him to the major leagues, he played third base last year. And then they moved him to second base this year, so already 3 different position changes for Beckham in his young professional career, but he's handled it very well because he's a good athletic player with a lot of tools and a lot of upside, is what scouts like to call it.
Played at a big-time program in some big-time games in the College World Series. He's trying to cash in Ramirez here with the game's first run. Way inside, and Porcello issues a 4-pitch walk. 2 on for the White Sox. While we have a moment, back to the studio we go. Time for a game break, and here's Mickey York. All right, Mickey, it certainly has. And he has been the mainstay, the rock in the middle of a Tigers lineup.
It's starting to look like nobody's going to catch that kid in Toronto, Batista.
Yeah, which, I don't know. I thought he would really slow down.
I did too.
Didn't you?
I did too.
It just had the hallmark of a guy that just had a great first half, but that would be it.
He is continuing to play long ball. Of course, Toronto is a very hitter-friendly yard these days.
Juan Pierre with 2 men on and 1 out.
Well, it's tough to double this guy up. He's got real good speed, but he has hit into few this year.
Ramirez and Beckham are the Chicago base runners. Showing bunt. By the way, we get word that Oakland has claimed Jeff Larish off the waiver wire, so the former Tiger prospect is now in the Oakland system.
Yeah, good for Larish. Yeah, possibly get an opportunity to get some big league at-bats.
Line drive over the head of the second baseman Rayburn. This is going to shoot the gap as well. It might get 2 runs in. Let's see. Ramirez scores. They're going to hold the back runner Beckham. And that's an RBI double for Juan Pierre.
It's a 2-1 fastball that's basically right down the middle, and Pierre gets a real good swing at it, and you can see the location. Those, most of the time, do not get to the catcher's glove. Rayburn jumped for it, but not able to snare it. Just out of his reach.
Oh.
And that allows the White Sox to score 1 run, and now they have runners on second and third with just 1 out.
Yeah, and they've got the good part of their lineup lurking as well. Here's Vizquel, who is 0 for 1.
Tigers are conceding the run on the infield. First couple of innings, Porcello was really good with first pitch strikes. Not so good in this inning. He's fallen behind the majority of the hitters that he has seen here in the third.
They got him into the stretch here with the leadoff infield hit by Ramirez. That's slapped towards shallow left field and caught by Frazier. Runner will tag. Gordon will come in to score. Vizquel gets an RBI. His 21st of the year.
And Frazier getting his first start in the outfield since being recalled. Did not play in the outfield in Boston. He comes in and has to jump for this ball, and by the time he comes up and throws, there's not going to be a play on Beckham.
2-0 in favor of Chicago. They score first in this game, and now here is Alex Rios. Rios is 0 for 1. Breaking ball dips away, 1-0.
And Tigers' middle infielders are going to have to do a little bit better job with Pierre on second base. Even though there's 2 outs, he's still a guy that will run on you.
It really does still amaze me that Rios can hold his hands as low as he does. Now, he does bring them up as the delivery is coming to the plate, but they're still really low.
Yeah, that's gunfighter range. I mean, they're below the belt buckle. And that's kind of jump-started his year this year. Look at him. Never seen that before. It gives you an idea of how strong he is, though, just to be able to start his hands down there. And he really doesn't bring them up that far.
One for his last 19. Rios, however, has had a strong season overall. Runner goes to third. Here comes the throw. No throw. Laird held on to the baseball.
That is the 40th steal this year for Juan Pierre, who it took a while for him to kind of learn American-style baseball and learn some of these American League pitchers, but he's been playing some really good baseball and a real good leadoff hitter for the White Sox.
Driven to center field. That's a base hit. That'll get another run in as Rios makes it a 3-0 game for Chicago.
Too many friendly hitter counts in this inning for Porcello, and that's why they've dropped that 3 spot on him. That's a 3-1 fastball. You're not going to throw it by Rios, especially if you don't locate it at the bottom of the strike zone. And speaking of fastballs, this guy doesn't miss fastballs. He has got some lightning quick hands, Konerko, when looking for fastballs. We told you Porcello's numbers coming in against Chicago, they weren't all that good.
Rick Knapp on the telephone, in touch with the Tigers bullpen. An early lead here for Chicago as they get 3 in the third. Konerko flied out to right field back in the second. Rick had a nice start to this one. Retired the first 6 batters in this game. But the infield hit by Ramirez has set up a 3-run frame. Most of Konerko's power has come at home this year. 25 home runs, 19 of them have come at U.S. Cellular Field, which I guess is not shocking. That is a good ballpark to hit it.
He's a dead pull hitter, too. And right field somewhat foreign to a lot of these right-handers in the middle of their batting order, and Konerko is one of those guys. Most of his damage is done from center field to left field.
Runner goes, and Laird can't hold on to it and can't pull the trigger. Stolen base for Rios. That's his 24th.
Earlier in the year, this would have been a situation where you could simply walk Konerko now, but Quentin in the on-deck circle playing good baseball, so you don't want to walk him. And very seldom do you see Laird mishandle the ball, only when that base runner has gotten a real good jump. And then a catcher, you start to rush on your exchange, and your exchange is not clean.
Now the 0-2. Right back through the middle and into center field. Another run will score just out of the reach of Rick Porcello. If he knocks it down, it saves a run. So the stolen base is proving costly in this inning.
This is not a bad pitch. It's an 0-2 pitch. It's at the bottom of the strike zone. And Porcello, when he threw that ball, it looked like his body was turned toward a first base and did not allow him to keep that ball in front of him. You can see him already starting to turn his body toward first base, and not bad location with that 0-2 pitch.
4 runs on 4 hits in the inning for Chicago. Here's the 8th man to bat in the frame, Carlos Quentin. Quentin struck out back in the second. RBIs for Pierre, Vizquel, Rios, and Konerko. That is popped in the air to shallow left center. Frazier is there to retire the side. So 8 men to the plate. Big inning for Chicago. They score 4 times. Mark Burley in the bottom of the third. They'll have their bottom three: Rayburn, Laird, and Worth against the quick working lefty. Ryan Rayburn has hit safely in his last 5. 2 for 10 this year against White Sox pitching.
Well, if you're the Tigers, you got to chip away. You cannot try to get them all back against Mark Burley. He's one of those guys that does not leave a lot of balls over the heart of the plate, which means you've got to take your singles and try to bunch them together and score a few runs that way.
This is the 29th career start for Burley against Detroit. He has 14 lifetime wins. 2.99 career ERA against the Old English D.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a lot of starts.
Burley, one of those guys that never has lit up the radar gun. Very seldom does his fastball get over 90 miles per hour. But we told you he does a lot of things very well while standing on that pitcher's mound, which allows him to have a lot of success. First pitch strikes. He stays out of the middle of the plate. He works at the bottom of the strike zone, and he changes speeds. And he feels his position as well.
And his teammates know on days that he pitches, you better be on your toes defensively.
Especially the left side of the infield, where it's probably one of the better left sides of the infield in baseball these days, with Vizquel playing third and Ramirez at short.
The 2-2. Inside, 3-2 on Ryan Rayburn. 5 hits on the road trip for Rayburn. Burley's 3-2 pitch. He lost him, ball 4. So Burley, who doesn't walk too many, has issued his first of the game. We remind you that this game today is being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. They're watching around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. We welcome all looking in today on AFN.
Yes, we do.
And a hearty thank you for what you do. Gerald Laird looks at a ball outside. So those tuning in today in Japan would know who you are, right?
Yeah, maybe a couple of them.
It's been a few years there.
It's been a few years.
Here's the 1-0 to Laird. There's a strike, 1-1. 4-0. White Sox got all 4 in the top of this third. Tigers trying to answer back now. Gerald had 3 hits in that Boston series. Swing and a miss. What a gut-wrenching series it was for the Tigers, who won the first game, but a couple of 9th-inning losses, marking the end of that 3-game series in games 2 and 3. Now the 1-2. Bouncing ball hit to the shortstop. Ramirez has it to second one. Relay. Not in time. Laird beat it out. Beckham's turn was a little bit tardy. Good hard slide at second base by Rayburn.
Now this is what Burley does. He just throws you little fastballs, little sinkers, and he locates them very well on the outside part of the plate. That's a changeup, and Laird kind of yanks it right toward Ramirez, and they just kind of took them time here. And that's the reason why they weren't able to turn that double play. They were very slow up the middle that year, not in up the middle on that play. Not in a hurry was Ramirez getting that ball to Beckham.
1 on, 1 out. Danny Worth batting .243. Worth has hit a couple of home runs. He has knocked in 8 and is back from a bruised heel that he suffered in that Boston series. That's in the air to center field. Sinking, base hit. Laird goes to second, and the Tigers in business now with 1 out. Now the top of the order, Austin Jackson.
And the play's right in front of Gerald and did not quite know what to do, but more than likely he can't go to third anyway on this play. Rios in center field has a right fielder's arm, so anytime there's a situation where Rios has to throw the baseball, if you're Gene Lamont or any of the base runners, you better make sure you can make it.
Jackson sends one back up the middle into center field. Laird rounding third. He's going to come around to score, and Austin Jackson puts the Tigers on the board.
Chipping away. The White Sox failed to turn that double play, which they probably should have turned off the bat of Gerald Laird, and the Tigers have capitalized on that. A base hit by Worth, and then Jackson up there first pitch swinging as well, lines one sharply right back up the box. One more big hit right here, and they're right back in this game.
Jackson gets his 24th RBI. He's 2 for 2. Yet another multiple hit game for Austin. Here's a high fly ball into shallow right center, and caught on a slide by the right fielder Quinton. Two gone.
Carlos Quinton plays a very deep right field. Very deep right field. And he kind of breaks back on the swing of Damon and has to recover to come in to make a shoestring grab here by leaving his feet and also kicking up a little turf there. Replace your divots, young man.
So it's going to leave it up to Frazier now with 2 outs.
Frazier's a dead pull hitter. I mean, just about everything that he has hit has been to the pull side of the field.
One ball, one strike. Frazier bounced into a double play in the first inning. Picked up his first major league hit off Daisuke Matsusaka in Boston on Saturday. 1-2. Frazier led the International League in doubles with 32 upon his call up. And a little chopper hit to the shortstop. Ramirez with a running scoop to end the inning. Tigers get a run back on the RBI hit by Austin Jackson. Band Network, AT&T, rethink possible. Warm afternoon here in the Motor City. A little bit of a breeze blowing as well. It is 4-1 in favor of Chicago. Game 1 in this doubleheader today. Glad to have you with us. And the Tigers will send Porcello back to the mound. He will face Mark Kotsay here in the 4th. Kotsay was the only batter that did not hit in that 4-run third for the Chicago White Sox. Drilled and hit hard to left field. On the move is Frazier, still going back to the wall, leaps, and he makes the catch. Frazier up against the wall, hauls it in. Nice play. Frazier didn't play any defense in Boston because of the monster, and Leland didn't want to put him out there, but much more conventional ballpark here, and he comes through. And the Wall did not knock the ball out of his glove either. Kotze hits one, or I should say the next batter, Ramirez, hits one off the end of the bat, foul. Kotze is now 0 for 2. Ramirez 1 for 1 with an infield single, and that started that 4-run third inning. That's right off the end of the bat. Rayburn will charge it, and he's safe. Where can he run? It's his second infield hit.
Hey fans, be here to catch the rest of the series against the White Sox tonight and tomorrow at 7:05, as well as Thursday at 1:05. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com.
This is just the first of 2 here today, the nightcap coming up this evening. Bonderman will throw in that one for the Tigers, and the White Sox have called up Carlos Torres. He'll pitch in game 2 for Chicago.
I mean, really the only true base stealers on the White Sox team are Pierre and Rios, but they've got a few other guys that will run on occasion if you forget about them, and Ramirez is one of those guys. And if you're Porcello, it's imperative that you keep your double play in order. And by not allowing Ramirez to get too good a jump to steal a base here today.
Pierzynski bounced out his first time up. Last year he hit 300. This year he's batting .237, or was coming in. In fact, he became the first Chicago catcher to hit 300 in a season last year.
Pierzynski also a free agent after this season, along with his first baseman, Konerko.
AJ is 33 years old. He won't be 34 till December. Rolled into right field, a base hit. Ramirez hits the bag. He'll come to third. And he is in there standing up. First and third now with 1 out. Well, don't forget tonight, the almost perfect poster. Armando Galarraga will be handed out in the nightcap here. So if you want to make your plans to be here at the ballpark, please do so.
What a night that was.
You can also win a signed baseball from Armando. Random drawing as you enter the ballpark tonight. Here's Gordon Beckham now with 1 out. The Sox now have put up 6 hits.
Totally different team than the team that we watched back in the middle of June. Totally different team. Totally different attitude.
Well, the 2 winning streaks that they went on certainly has gone a long way to changing their attitude.
They went 15-17 at one time.
At one point, yeah. As a team, they bat .262, which is about middle of the pack. In fact, they're right behind the Tigers, who came in at .269.
They have also won 20 of their last 22 games at home. They're not great on the road, and they're not that good against the Central. But they've been doing the majority of their positive work in Chicago. 7 straight series wins by the White Sox at home.
Rolled foul, third base side. Well, they're 3 for 3 today with runners in scoring position, and
how about since the break?
That's where it really stands out. 321.
Tigers at just 214.
Driven to left field. Frazier is there. Runner will tag. They're going to run on him again, and Ramirez scores. Sac fly for Gordon Beckham, an RBI to make it 5-1. That's the second sacrifice fly in this game for Chicago.
Back when the White Sox won the World Series in 2005, and they had a team that was unselfish, nice table setter, and Pasetnik at the top of that lineup. They would bunt, they would hit and run. They had some power in the middle. They pitched well, and they played very well defensively. And I think Ozzie Guillen feels like he's got that same kind of club this year.
Runner goes. Here comes the throw down, and the tag is in time. Brzezinski was on the run and was cut down easily to end the inning, but another run in for Chicago.
Okay, it's time out for the Dunkin' Donuts break.
Tigers and Sox. First pitch is a tad outside to Cabrera, who bounced out his first time up and is now 0 for 13 career against Mark Burley. 1-1. .364 road trip for Miguel Cabrera, including a big series against the Boston Red Sox. He had that huge hit on Sunday in the 9th inning, which brought the Tigers back, but Detroit eventually lost in the bottom of the 9th. In fact, he took Papelbon off that center field wall and very nearly hit the ball out.
When that ball left his bat, I did not realize he had hit that ball that hard and that far. But I guess it just gives you an idea of how strong Cabrera is.
Makes it look easy sometimes. 3-2. Miguel has knocked in 32 in his last 31 contests. He drives this one high in the air to right center field. Rios for the out, one gone.
Let's take one more look at that play that ended that half inning for the White Sox regarding Brzezinski. He's over here at first base, and he's basically thinking that the Tigers defensively have fallen asleep. So take a look at him. He gets off the base, and he takes three real big shuffles. 1, 2, 3, and then he takes off for second base. It's not a straight steal, and what you're hoping is that you can kind of fall under the radar there a little bit and catch the opposing team sleeping, but Gerald Laird was not having any of that and able to throw him out at second base. I don't think I've seen any other team this year, Tigers included, attempt a delayed steal this year. First time I've seen it this year.
First I can remember as well. Didn't work, though.
Well, it usually doesn't, and that's why we haven't seen it.
2-0. I would imagine that if you are going to attempt that play, the secondary lead that you take has to be critical, doesn't it?
And also the personnel that you're doing it with. I mean, Brzezinski, you're just kind of thinking he's just shuffling off and he's not really going anywhere. But the middle infielders were alert. They were able to get there. And Gerald Laird was also alert as well.
Peralta is 0 for 1 flied out to right field in his first at bat. 2-1 pitch is lined to left field. Base hit. So Johnny continues to swing it. He had 5 hits in that Boston series after joining Detroit. Time for the trivia question today, brought to you by AT&T. Here it is. Who are the only 4 players with 400 home runs and 10 Gold Gloves? That's Select Company right there.
Oh, that is Select Company.
Here's Brendan Bosch. Tigers had their 4th hit. Bosch hits a ground ball to the right side. Konerko spins to second one. Relay. Not in time.
And Brendan Bosch, first pitch swinging on both of his plate appearances here today, and he has grounded out to the left side of the infield. That's a fastball that's down. And Brendan gets out in front of it and hits it right to Konerko. It's down and away, as a matter of fact. Real good located pitch by Burley. It's a pitch that you probably, if you can do it all over again, try to take that ball right back up the middle.
Here's Rayburn. Ooh, a good pick off, and they got it.
That's number 6 this year for Burley.
So Bosch is picked off first base. Burley can do that with the best of them. Got it clean.
Line balk for me. Take a look at his foot, his front foot, when it lands right there. Where his foot lands, he is not really pointed toward first base. He's pointed more toward their dugout, and that's a real gray area. He's already been called for a couple of balks this year, and for that very reason, but he got away with it that time.
You think because of who he is and how many pickoffs he has, he will get away with it more times than not?
I think so, and I think he pretty much gives you the same look if you're the first base umpire or the home plate umpire, and he's just got a really deceptive move. Almost.
Peralta almost made a great play.
But that's about as far as you can go without being called for a balk. I mean, that was right in between. Most left-handers, they are totally stepping toward first base. And Peralta was coming in for the bunt because that's exactly what Peralta did here, and he almost got back and recovered and made that play, and good thing he got rid of that glove.
That's hammered to right field. Hit well. Bosch turning on this one, and that ball is out of here.
Oh, no, he didn't. That is his first home run of the year. Come on, Juan Pierre. Well, we told you earlier, this White Sox team, for whatever reason, when they come in here to Comerica Park, they play here like it's a home game. Little breaking ball there, just kind of dropped his hands, and if you're Pierre, you know you're going to take off sprinting because you don't hit many home runs. You don't know what that feels like.
Six-one ball game. Vizquel had a sac fly in his last at bat. That was in the third to drive in a run. Juan Pierre has 14 career home runs now, and a career that started back in 2000.
There's Greg Walker, their hitting coach. He's a buddy of mine, former teammate. He's all smiles these days. Why wouldn't he be?
Jackson catches the fly ball from Vizquel, one away.
Well, how surprised was Juan Pierre that that ball went out? He said, "Oh no, did I?" He don't know nothing about that home run trot. He's usually sprinting around the base paths.
Porcello had 3 ground ball outs in the first inning, but only 2 since then. They've put the ball in the air. They have sprayed it around. They have had a total of 7 hits.
Once they got him out of the windup and into the stretch, their offense kind of took off here today.
Swung on, driven high in the air, deep to left field. Frazier to the wall, and that one is gone. Alex Rios has hit his 17th of the season, and the White Sox have added 2 more here in the 5th on 2 solo home runs.
Hands very low. Looks like he gets a hanging breaking ball. Really didn't have to pull the hands up that high. He just dropped the bat head on it. He drilled that in real good form there. Frazier almost got this. Ooh, just tipped it. Frazier probably had one more step to take on that warning track before elevating. And had he done that, he would have robbed that home run from Rios. But when you're playing in the outfield for the very first time, as he is here at Comerica Park, does not quite know how many steps he has once he hits that warning track. But he had one more step to give there. White Sox flexing their muscles here at Comerica Park today.
Konerko an RBI single in the 3rd, 1 for 2. And Chicago now with 8 hits. They've doubled up the hit totals on Detroit. They lead 7-1. In fact, they got 4 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, and now 2 more here in the 5th. Sox trying to win their 60th game of the year. 2-2 on Konerko. Three balls and 2 strikes on Konerko. Everything in the air in this inning. The Pierre and Rios home runs and the Vizquel fly to center. Rick's struggles against the White Sox career continue here today after a really good start, and he's just walked Konerko. It's his 2nd walk of the day. Gonzalez swarming up in the bullpen. Here comes Jim Leland. And so that's going to be it for Porcello. And the skipper will take his right-hander out of the game. We'll step aside. Breaking the action here in the 5th. 7-1 Chicago. Wallside Windows pitching change. inning. Don't forget Lions training camp is underway, and veteran NFL writer Mike O'Hara heads up our coverage at FoxSportsDetroit.com. Look for his Lions Insider column as well as other reports and commentary from the activities at Allen Park. Read Mike O'Hara's Lions training camp coverage now at FoxSportsDetroit.com. And if you log on today, John Keating wrote a really good piece on Brandon Inge. We mentioned that Brandon is going to be heading to West Michigan tonight to start a rehab. And as Brandon told us earlier, if all goes well tonight, he could be back tomorrow. But check out John Keating's piece at FoxSportsDetroit.com. And the new pitcher now is Enrique Gonzalez.
Enrique has done all of his work out of the bullpen since coming up from Toledo this year. Numbers not bad. Earned run average 3.06, and the opponent's batting average not all that high against Enrique. And Jim needs some length out of him this afternoon. Their bullpen was beat up and battered in Boston, but the day off yesterday really kind of helped them get that bullpen back in order.
One ball and one strike on Carlos Quentin. Kept him off the bases today. 0 for 2, strikeout and a fly ball. Porcello 4 1/3 today before departing. Two and one. Tiger bullpen coming into play today with an ERA of 3.65. The series in Boston really took its toll, as it normally does when you go there. Very seldom do you get out of Fenway Park with all of your pieces intact and being able to run it the way you want. Long games typically played there. Red Sox really good at getting into your bullpen. 3 and 1 on Carlos Quentin. That'll get back out of play. 3 and 2.
Boston may be more hostile to go into than even New York these days. The new Yankee Stadium, in my opinion. I really can't think of a place where it just feels like the game's on top of you the way that it is in Boston.
Well, it's such a big stadium to center field and to right center, but it's that green monster that just makes it so intimate. It is a smaller stadium, capacity at about 37,000. That's a walk to Quentin, so he's on. The third walk now for Tigers pitching today. And that's going to bring up Mark Kotsay. I think it used to be that the old Yankee Stadium was just as intimidating at Fenway Park, but the new Yankee Stadium, it just doesn't seem to have that aspect.
Yeah, it's too clean.
It is too clean.
It's real clean.
Here's Kotsay. Fouled away. We'll be heading back to New York on the next road trip. Take on those Yankees.
A tough stretch right here for the Tigers. They've got these White Sox and the Rays, the Yankees, as you mentioned, Angels as well. Next 2 weeks are critical, and I mean critical, as is this series against the White Sox. I mean, Tigers are at that point now in their season where they can't split series. They've got to win just about every single series and then hope to get a little help from some of the other teams in the American League.
Into shallow center, Rayburn goes to the grass, and the runners will hold. Kotsay is out. 2 away now for Alexei Ramirez.
But anything can happen. I mean, if you get your starting rotation hot and going through its rotation about 2-3 times as the White Sox did in the beginning of June, you can carve into the 7-game lead that the White Sox currently have over Detroit. But that's what it's going to take. It's going to take about a 10-game winning streak.
Ramirez has a couple of infield hits. He has also scored both times. Tigers have been limited to just 4 hits today by Burley. And In the meantime, Chicago has posted 8. Here's the 1-0. 2-0 on Alexi Ramirez. Ramirez, with his 2 hits today, has extended his hitting streak to 9 consecutive games. In fact, he is 14 for his last 29 at bats. He's been hot. Trying to drive in another. High fly ball left field. This will chase Frazier back to the edge of the warning track to retire the side. 2 more runs in and a couple of homers, and you're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire.
Ladies, while they support fishing and farmers and happiness everywhere.
Here's the AT&T trivia question one more time today. How many did you get? There are 4 players with 400 home runs career and 10 gold gloves. El Kaline would have been on that list, but he hit 399 home runs. It is a list that includes Mays, Griffey, Schmidt, and Andrew Jones. Very impressive list. Of course, a couple of those guys over 600 home runs. Here come the Tigers now down 7-1 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Rayburn, Laird, and Worth facing Mark Burley, who has been supported with 7 runs on 8 hits. 1-1 on Rayburn, who walked to lead off the 3rd. Ryan, career 3 for 15 against Burley. Takes outside again.
And Burley, one of those guys that kind of gives you a comfortable 0 for 4. And not overpowering. You pretty much know he's going to be around the plate. But he's very smart and really knows how to pitch to your weaknesses.
Look at that play by Ramirez. That ball was smoked off to his right.
He's got some length at that position. He's got some athleticism. And he's got a real strong throwing arm. Once he makes the play, you're pretty much out with his arm strength.
There's Gerald Laird. Reaching out a fielder's choice and scoring the Tigers' only run. That was back in the 3rd when Jackson singled one in. Burley's 1-0 pitch. On the ground to 3rd under the glove of Vizquel. Into left field. G-Money is on. Bring up Danny Worth. 5 Tigers hits in the ball game now. Worth has one of those, a single back in the 3rd. Lines this one to right field and caught by Quentin. 2 outs.
The center fielder, Austin Jackson.
Hey, fans, take advantage of the weekday value pack when the Tigers take on the White Sox tonight and tomorrow at 7:05, as well as Thursday at 1:05. Get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 soft drinks, 4 bags of chips for only $55. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit Tigers.com for the weekday value pack.
Bonderman in game 2 tonight against Carlos Torres. Here's Austin Jackson. Jackson with 2 more hits. And he rolls this one to the shortstop Ramirez. And they'll get the force ending the inning. No runs. 1 hit, 1 left. To the 6th we go. And as we check this out, the American League Central Division standings on June 8th compared to the current standings, and look at the huge turnaround for Chicago.
Yes, indeed. They caught fire. They caught fire.
Tigers had just beaten Chicago at Comiskey. U.S. Cellular back on June 8th, and then all of a sudden the White Sox went on a huge roll. It happened quickly.
The Tigers, when they came back to play after the break, they were only a half a game behind the White Sox. That's only been a couple weeks.
Pierzynski leading it off. Fly ball to center. And Jackson for out number 1. Back to the studio we go. Time for a game break with Mickey York.
The second baseman, Gordon Benton.
Now we know indeed, Mick. Thank you very much.
A-Rod struggling to hit that 600th home run. He's gone 40-plus at-bats without homering.
Here's the 0-1 to Beckham. Bouncing ball back towards second. It was slowed down. Rayburn will have enough time. Yeah, I think once, and I said this before and I'll say it again, once he gets number 600, he may go on a roll. That big 600 home run is going to be hard to get.
He's got that kind of ability, and he's also hitting in a lineup that he's got a lot of protection in that lineup.
Here comes Juan Pierre. Homer double, stolen base, 2 runs scored for Pierre. Eight for his last 15 at bats. Got a 9-game hitting streak as well. Slap foul back out of play, 0-2. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Just off the corner. 1-2 on Juan Pierre. He's second in the American League in infield hits. He has 28 of those. Utilizes his speed quite a bit. In fact, Ichiro has more. He is the only player with more, 34 infield hits. Both guys get out of the left side of the box very quickly. That home run he hit the first since September of 2008. That's how rare the power is for Pierre. Rayburn has another chance. Easy play and a 1-2-3 inning for Gonzalez. We go to the bottom of the sixth here at Comerica Park. It is 7-1 White Sox.
Back to the fifth inning, and it's Juan Pierre, their leadoff hitter, who had not homered all year long. Gets a breaking ball from Porcello and hits one into the front row in right field, and he can't believe it. Coors Light Freeze Cam is always brought to you by your Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Part of the outburst today for Chicago. They lead 7-1. Mark Burley back to the hill, has thrown 60 pitches so far. He's facing Damon Frazier and Cabrera here in the bottom of the sixth.
This is pretty much the kind of baseball that the White Sox have played for the last 6 or 7 weeks. Real good starting pitching, and they put pressure on you with their legs. They steal bases. They've stole a couple here today, and every now and then they play long ball. So this is pretty much, in a nutshell, what the White Sox have done for about 7 consecutive weeks. They've been the best team in baseball.
Here's the 2-1 to Damon.
And we kept wondering when they would slow down. When they won 15-17, we're saying, okay, they kind of had their real hot streak. They've got to slow down at some point in time. But they really haven't slowed down at all.
No, they have not, but there is still 2 months left. And, of course, the 2 toughest months when you get into August and September. We'll see how they hold up. Slow roller to first base, and Burley covers, and he just nips Damon at the wire.
You don't think they'll hold up?
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying we'll see how they do here in the month of August. I mean, this is when it's, I think, really most difficult for guys to get through the dog days, as they say. But I think when you look at what they have pitching-wise, there's a good chance they will hold up.
They've also got a veteran team, too. A lot of times when you have younger teams, unproven players, you might worry about August and September a little bit more. But they've got a proven bunch as long as they stay away from injury. And they've pretty much been able to do that all year.
Yeah, that's also a big key. Just ask the Tigers.
Well, there's no team in baseball that could overcome what the Tigers have had to go through the last couple of weeks. You take the best 3 players out of any order of the other 29 teams, and you're probably going to get similar results as we've watched the last 2 weeks.
I'd agree with that wholeheartedly. Frazier, because of the injuries, has gotten an opportunity. He is 0 for 2 in this game against Burley. The 2-0. 5 Detroit hits in this game, and a total of 8 for Chicago. Popped him up. Straight up. Pierzynski. 2 gone. Meanwhile, Burley just kind of meandering through this game like he normally does. Doesn't throw a lot of pitches, works very quickly. The only run he gave up was back in the 3rd, RBI single by Jackson.
And Burley also knows how to pitch with a big lead. He's still not giving in to the Tigers. He's still incorporating all of his pitches. Still working on the outer edge of the plate.
Burley earlier this year threw back-to-back complete games. He did it in the month of July. I mentioned earlier that his starts have averaged 2 hours 36 minutes this year. High towering fly ball left field. Juan Pierre is under it, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Burley. To the 7th we go. Third inning, 4 hits. He scored 4 times. Juan Pierre has had himself a game, and so has Rios. They went back-to-back with home runs. And Porcello, look at that ERA against the Chicago White Sox this year. There's a ball outside to Omar Vizquel. Actually, back in the 5th inning, the Sox did not go back-to-back, but Pierre and Rios did homer in that inning, and that stretched out the lead a little bit. 2-0 on Omar Vizquel. Still doing it at the age of 43 and doing it quite well here at the big league level, playing third base with the injury to Mark Teahen, and he has done most of his outstanding Hall of Fame work at shortstop in his career.
It's going to be tough for Teahen to get that job back once he's healthy. The way that Vizquel is playing at third base. Their team has kind of taken off since he's played third base on an everyday basis.
And it's one of those things that managers have to deal with. If you're going good, you really don't want to tinker with it too much.
Nah, not really. I mean, you'll give Teahen some reps to see if he's going to perform the way that Kenny Williams thought he would perform when he made that deal to bring him over from Kansas City. But you're not going to let Teahen stand in the way of your team playing real good baseball. And, of course, Ozzie Guillen makes those decisions as to who starts and who plays and how much they play.
3-2 pitch. Pulled foul.
I wonder if he and Ozzie are getting along any better these days. And when we were there a couple of months ago, boy, they didn't seem like they were getting along that good. But the owner, Jerry Reinsdorf, told them, you know what, if you guys start to win some games around here, I think everybody will be okay, and there'll be lots of smiles around. They're probably smiling these days.
Leadoff walk to Vizquel. First place will do that for you, I think.
No doubt.
Hey, by the way, you can vote for your Tigers McDonald's player of the game using your cell phone. Text Tigers followed by a space, then the player's uniform number to 37338. That's FSDET. And stick around. You can see the final results post-game during Tigers Live. Here's Rios. There's a strike call on Alex Rios, who has a homer, a single, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored, and a stolen base. Enrique Gonzalez took over for the starter Rick Porcello, who was bounced out in the 5th inning in this game. The 0-1 misses high, 1 ball, 1 strike. Rios earlier this year, back in July, as a matter of fact, against Seattle, picked up the 100th home run of his career. Checked it, and he did not go. 2-1. Rios also has an arm that you don't really want to run on either. He's had 57 outfield assists since 2004. He's been a complete player this year. And it's 3-1.
Dangerous count here for Gonzalez, especially if you're going to try to throw a fastball by Rios. Although the hand's very low, still very quick, especially in predictable fastball counts.
Ripped to center field. Jackson dropped it. They might get the force at second if they hurry, and they do. We've seen that happen several times this year. So out at second base is Vizquel. Rios aboard at first.
Nice recovery here by Jackson. He came quite a ways to get to the ball, and right off the, actually right in the glove. I thought maybe it was off the tip of the glove, but that looked like it went right in the pocket and then bounced out, but he didn't panic. And Vizquel can't go very far. About halfway is all he can go. Then he starts to retreat, and it's too late for him to get to second.
One on, one out. Ball 1 to Paul Konerko. Been on base twice, single and a walk. He's had an RBI as well. Konerko hovering around 300. The batting average at 298. Konerko's had 11 different years in his career in which he's had 20 or more home runs. They're piling up now. In fact, in his career, 351 lifetime round trippers. Drives this one down the left field line. Foul.
He can hit a fastball. I don't care how hard you throw it. If he is looking for it, he can clobber it. You think he stays in a White Sox uniform after this year?
Well, it seems like every time he's rumored to be going somewhere else, whether it's as a free agent or during the trading deadline, he doesn't. Kind of hard at this point to imagine him in another uniform. I don't know. What do you think?
I do know he's one of those guys that seems to play well in a contract year, and he'll have a chance to go wherever he wants to go because he's put up some monster numbers.
But I do know this. I would love to be hitting in that ballpark for half the season.
No doubt.
That's a good hitter's park. 2 outs. Here is Carlos Quentin. Quentin walked in his last at bat, otherwise hitless. White Sox got 4 in the 3rd. Tigers got 1 back, and it's been all Chicago since. A run in the 4th and 2 in the 5th as they open up a 7-1 lead. Swing and a miss. Line drive to left field. Frazier plays it on one hop, and Quentin joins the hit parade. 2 on with 2 outs. For as good as Chicago has been this year, and we mentioned the big winning streaks that they've had, they are still 3 under 500 within the division. They're 17-20 coming in against the Central.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which kind of took me by surprise a little bit. That's driven to right field. That's a base hit. Rios coming to third. They're going to send him home. Bosch with a strong throw. He is safe. Rios just ahead of the tag from Gerald Blair.
I thought that was a gamble by Jeff Cox at third base, their third base coach, but it looked like he got in there safely by his slide, or we'll see once we get a look at a replay. But you can do that when you've got a 6-run spread and you've got a guy that runs the bases like Rios does. With 2 outs, he is off at the crack of the bat. Bosch comes up with an outstanding throw to home plate, and it looks like Laird grabs it and then reaches back in the hand or the foot. Got in there safely, according to Jeff Nelson.
Close play, single RBI, takes second on the throw. This will tell us right here. I thought he was safe to make it high.
Ooh, he got him.
Maybe not.
It looked like he got him. Looked like he got him on that left knee before the hand got on the plate.
I thought the foot hit the plate, but it clearly didn't. I think you're right. I think he was out. So Kotsay gets an RBI on the play, make it 8-1. Ramirez hammers one to left field. Frazier on the run. Can't get it over his head. 2 more runs will score. And Alexi Ramirez heads to second base, and the White Sox now are pouring it on.
Last 3 hits have all come on first pitches from Gonzalez. Take one more look at the play. Tigers probably should have been out of the inning. The left foot does not hit the plate. He tags him about right now before his hand gets on the plate. But it's a tough call there for Jeff Nelson, and we had to slow it down to really get a real good look at it.
11 hits for Chicago, and they lead this game 10-1. That's the one thing about the replays and the slow-mo. Boy, you can pick things up, slow them down. When you're on the field making those split-second decisions, that's what makes it difficult for umpires. But unfortunately, the umpires can't slow the game down as the play is happening.
Yeah, they still get it right 99.9% of the time in the naked eye.
Here's A.J. Pierzynski. 3 runs, 7th inning for Chicago. Way outside, 2-0 on Pierzynski. A.J. is 1 for 3 with a single. The 2-0, way outside, 3-0. There is more action in the Tigers bullpen. Porcello came out of the game in the 5th. Gonzalez has been on since. Had a 1-2-3 6th inning, but they have gotten to him here in the 7th. Brad Thomas, the left-hander, tuning up. And there's a walk. Second walk in the inning for Gonzalez. And 5 walks for Tigers pitching. Here's Gordon Beckham. swing for Beckham, who has an RBI plus a walk and a run scored in this game. Beckham played his college ball at Georgia. His grandfather, as a matter of fact, played football at Georgia, and his dad played football at South Carolina. That's driven to center field, a base hit. Ramirez rounding third. They'll send him home. Jackson's throw cut off. RBI single for Gordon Beckham. His second RBI today. Make it 11-1. And they will hit around now as Juan Pierre comes up. Beckham now has driven in 35. So he continues to swing the hot bat. Pierre hits one of the air to right. Bosch camping under it, and that will finally end the inning. 9 men to the plate. They put up 4 more, and as we go to the stretch, 11-1.
Keeps his infielders involved. He also keeps the ball out of the middle of the plate, which means he stays out of danger. He also gets over to first base when he needs to do that to help out his infielders, and he picks off people too. So Mark Burley has really just kind of did today what he does every single time that he takes the mound for the White Sox, and that's give them a legitimate opportunity to win the baseball game. That's our Bell Tire pitch by pitch, by the way.
6 innings, and he's given up just 1 run and just 5 hits. Hadn't struck anybody out, but it hasn't mattered.
He has thrown a no-hitter and a perfect game in his career. And usually when you start talking about guys that throw no-hitters, it's usually guys that have electric stuff or that can be electric on any given day. But Burley just pitches to a lot of contact, and he also never, ever shakes off his catcher. And it really doesn't matter which catcher it is. Whoever it is, they put the sign down, and he throws it.
And a strikeout. Well, there's his first of the game. Peralta goes down swinging, 1 away. That's some defensive changes for the Chicago White Sox. Dion Viciedo is the new third baseman, and the new center fielder is Brent Lillibridge. Burley goes to work now against Bosch. Brendan batting in the 6th slot. First time he's batted 6th all year. He batted a couple of times in the 3-hole in Boston. Otherwise, he's been 5th all season long. He rips that one foul.
Ozzie Guillen taking the luxury of taking his veteran players out of the first game of this doubleheader. Give him a few innings off. More than likely, he'll play them in the second game. the score has kind of dictated that for Ozzie.
11-1. Burley is looking to add to his career total against the Tigers. This would be his 15th win against Detroit. Bosch lunging, pops it up. Pierzynski discards the mask. 2 gone.
Hey fans, as soon as the game ends, our coverage continues with Tigers Live. You'll hear from the manager, Jim Leland, the players, plus we'll break down the game and show you all the highlights. Tigers Live from the Call Sam Studios immediately after the game here on Fox Sports Detroit.
Here comes Ryan Rayburn. Rayburn 0 for 1 with a walk. The 2-0 pitch. Burley also chewed up the National League this year. He was 4-0 with a 1.29 ERA in interleague play. Talk about the back-to-back complete games he threw in July. And Burley in search of his 10th win. His ERA, though, is elevated this year, over 4 coming in. But he's helping himself out in that respect today. Now it's 3-2. He has fallen behind Ryan Rayburn in every at-bat so far today. 3-2 pitch. Driven to center field. Little Bridge. And a 1-2-3 inning. 7 in the books. Game 1 of the doubleheader. One of his starters back real soon. Brandon Inge, who's been on the disabled list with a broken hand, is playing tonight in West Michigan on a rehab.
Well, he had 6 home runs and had driven in 40 before that injury, and he was getting hot at about that time. So sooner they can get Brandon back, the better.
And we have a new pitcher now for the Tigers. Left-hander Brad Thomas will check in.
Thomas got his first loss of the year in that completed series in Boston. He's pitched in 31 games now for the Tigers, 18 strikeouts against 23 walks. That pretty much is why his ERA is over 4, is the fact that he has not thrown that many strikes. Don Kelly also checks in at first base. Miguel Cabrera giving the rest of this one off.
First pitch from the lefty Thomas is in there to Dayan Viciedo, who is getting his first at bat in this game. Viciedo batting .318, just 21 years old. He is a young man from Cuba that defected to the United States. And he drives one to left center field. Hit well. That ball is up, and that ball is gone.
It doesn't matter who they put in these days. That ball was crushed.
That's going to be the third home run of the afternoon for Chicago.
And Viciedo got a breaking ball at the bottom of the strike zone and just dropped the bat head on it and drilled it. And a fine play on the other end by the young man in Tiger Orange.
Snow coming. 12-1 Chicago. Lillibridge the batter.
I know it's only one game, boy, but this has to be disappointing to the Tigers. White Sox coming in for 4 games and to play this way in the first game of the series.
Well, it started like it might be a good one for Rick Porcello. 6 up, 6 down, and then Chicago got it rolling with a 4-run third. And they have not looked back. Meanwhile, Burley has spun his magic against the Tigers offense. Viciedo's home run here in the 8th extends the lead. First at bat for Lillibridge. Here's the 1-1. Thomas follows Gonzalez, who followed Porcello. And it's hammered to center field, a base hit.
Hey fans, follow the Tigers on your iPhone, iPod Touch, BlackBerry, and Android phones with MLB.com at Bat 2010, featuring play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcast. Visit Tigers.com today for more details. Man, they bought out the whipping stick here today.
14 hits for Chicago. Here's Konerko. Single and a walk in this one. And a strike called from Thomas, 0-1. Sox coming in had won 6 of their last 7 and 18 of their previous 25. They're in command of this one. Swing and a miss. 0-2. White Sox, before their big run, were actually 9 games under the 500 mark at 24-33. They've been as good as anybody, if not better than anybody, in the entire game. The 0-2 is inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Thirteen of their next 17 will be against the Tigers and the Minnesota Twins. The 1-2 pitch. High fly ball hit well to right center field. Bosch is on the run, still going, and he makes the catch. Hits the deck, and he does not make the catch. It drops in. Throw down to second is in time. How about that? That ball was hit, I don't know, about 350 feet, and they got a force. Bosch pulled up a big chunk of the turf out there in right center. In his glove, and it popped out He initially made the play on that ball.
Hope that right knee's all right.
I know it.
Yeah. He got up limping. He's a proud young man, and he was walking back to that position rather gingerly, but let's hope he's okay.
Fielder's choice, 9-4-6 on the putout.
And you're right, partner. I don't think I've ever seen a putout
Ever.
at that distance. Ever.
So we continue to see a ton of that same play over and over, but not that one as deep as it was in right center. That's the second time it's happened today. Fouled away.
Lillibridge, he almost overran Konerko.
Go, man, go. Or come back. Oh, 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Quinton.
Konerko wanted that base hit.
Yeah, he sure did. That's the frustrating part when you're on the end of the guy that actually hit the ball. If you're on that end, you get a hit taken away. One and 2 on Quinton. Carlos today a walk and a single. Quinton doesn't really, he's got an odd stance up there. Doesn't really swing the bat when he's warming up. He just kind of rocks back and forth like he is going to take some practice swings, but doesn't.
He doesn't pivot either on his back foot like most coaches tell kids to squish the bug or lift your right heel and kind of turn, which helps you rotate your hips. He doesn't do that either. He tries to keep that heel on the ground as long as possible, and that kind of helps him stay in there a little bit longer with the front side of his body. But he's strong, though.
2 outs.
Well, there you have it.
A lot of crooked numbers on the White Sox side. And we'll get a pinch hitter now for Kotze. He will not bat. Ramon Castro will hit. Twelve runs on 14 hits today for Chicago. They've added one more here in the 8th on the home run by Viciedo. Castro hitting .328. Ground ball to short. Worth on the backhand to get the force. Inning over. They add one more. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 12-1. in the nightcap. Coverage begins at 6:30 with Tigers Live, followed by the game at 7. And the Tigers losing big in this one early on here. They gave up quite a few runs early in the game and now trail 12-1 as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Meanwhile, Mark Burley has been cruising along. He is facing Gerald Laird, Danny Worth, and Austin Jackson. Gerald has been on base twice, has a single and a fielder's choice, and he pops it up left side of the infield for Alexi Ramirez. It's 9 straight now retired by Burley.
10 ground outs, 10 flyouts, 1 strikeout.
Danny Worth 1 for 2. Those pitches that Burley has thrown in any start this year is 113, and that was his second start of the year. There's a base hit to left. Danny Worth, 2 out of 3 today against Burley.
It looked like Danny Worth got on the top of a breaking ball changeup, something at 82 miles an hour, and hit a seed to left field. Burley has topped out at 88 miles an hour today and has gone as low as 68, almost under the speed limit for Burley with a changeup or a breaking ball.
Austin Jackson has 2 hits. Jackson now with 35 multiple hit games this year. Linebrink is tuning up in their bullpen. There's another base hit. 3-hit game now for Jackson. We'll put 2 aboard.
And Burley's one of those guys where he's just not going to give you a whole lot of pitches to try to do a whole lot of damage against him. So you may as well take the lousy single the opposite way as Jackson has done. You don't want to force the issue with a guy like Burley.
Johnny Damon is 0 for 3. Jackson now has 11 3-hit games, which is more than any other Tiger. That's popped up. Viciedo at third, to the grass. Damon retired. 2 gone. He's going to bring up Jeff Frazier. Meanwhile, Burley now is going to get a visit. And it looks like they're going to make a pitching change. So the White Sox will be going to the bullpen here. And as they do, we'll step aside. Pitching change. Here comes Linebrink. We'll be back. The last 8 games, 22 strikeouts in 20 and a third innings.
ERA just a shade over 1, too. Linebrink, J.J. Putz, Matt Thornton, and Big Bobby Jenks. They've got a real nice back end of their bullpen.
Ozigian taking his starter out, getting Linebrink some work in a 12-1 ball game.
And Linebrink comes in with an earned run average of 4.5. 34 strikeouts in 34 innings against 12 walks. So he comes right after you.
Linebrink born in Austin, Texas. Facing Frazier now with 2 out, 2 on. Foul tip into the glove. Frazier is 0 for 3. The 0-1 pitch. Shot the other way down the right field line. Base hit. This will get a run in. Worth comes around to score. Jackson goes to third. And Frazier has his first Major League RBI.
It's a nice adjustment there by Frazier, who for the most part has been out in front of everything that Burley has thrown here today. But if you stay back long enough, as he does here on a breaking ball, and slices it down in that corner, and you can do a little bit better. That's a nice piece of hitting there by the youngster Frazier, who is having a monster season in AAA.
Here's Don Kelly with 2 outs. Kelly takes ball 1. Miguel Cabrera was 0 for 3 before he was lifted. Kelly getting his first at bat. And he rolls that one foul. Linebrink in his career has pitched in both leagues. Many years with San Diego. He's pitched in Houston and San Francisco as well, not to mention Milwaukee over in the National League. That's in the air. Shallow right field. The second baseman Beckham is there to retire the side. Tigers get a run back and 8 in the books. Now 12-2. The hill goes Brad Thomas. It's been a tough day so far in the opener for the Tigers, and hopefully they can give that person a birthday present in Game 2. Alexi Ramirez will lead it off in the 9th inning. Ramirez, Pierzynski, and Beckham, the bottom 3, facing the lefty Thomas. And again in Game 2, Bonderman and Carlos Torres. Torres coming up from AAA to make a spot start for Chicago. 26,000 plus for the opener today. So here's Ramirez. Thomas came on in the 8th inning, surrendered the home run to Viciedo. And he misses inside. 1-0 on Ramirez. One ball, one strike. Big day for Ramirez. 3 hits, 2 RBIs. He has scored a couple of runs. Really a big day for a lot of the Chicago White Sox. Broken bat roller towards short. Worth going to have to hurry. And he's safe. It's another hit for Ramirez, his 4th of the game.
Few of those infield variety. Yeah, Danny Worth does all he can do. Here's a do or die play by the time he gets it in the glove and then transfers to the throwing hand. And that gives Ramirez a couple of extra steps, and that makes the difference in him being safe and out.
First 4-hit game of the season for Alexi Ramirez. White Sox today have had 8 different batters have at least 1 RBI. They have definitely spread the wealth around. Pierzynski is not one of those players. He does have a single and a walk, though. Been on base twice. 15 hits for Chicago. Driven down the right field line. Foul. 1-1. Bouncing ball hit to the right side. Could be 2. There's 1. Not in time. Ramirez is forced at second base and safe on the fielder's choice. Pierzynski. Now Gordon Beckham. While the Tigers and the White Sox tangle here in the doubleheader, Minnesota tonight playing in Tampa.
Tampa cooled them off last night. They had won 8 straight, I believe, before Tampa. And then beat them last night in the first game of that series.
Sharp one hopper to the shortstop. That's going to be 2. And it goes 6-4-3. So the inning is over. Bottom of the 9th coming up. strength and stability since 1849. Wallside Windows. For a free in-home estimate, call 1-800-521-7800. And by Bell Tire, get the lowest tire price, period. Kind of a hazy, overcast day here at the ballpark today, and it's been all Chicago White Sox. Game one of the doubleheader. The Sox taking it to the Tigers, 12-2. They've out-hit Detroit 15-8. And the Tigers now down to their final 3 outs. Johnny Peralta will lead it off, and Brennan Bosch and Ryan Rayburn. Peralta is 1 for 3 in this one. Linebrink is out there. He retired the final batter in the 8th inning, not before he gave up an RBI single to Frazier. Here's the 1-0 to Johnny, and that's whistled right at third, and Viciedo throws his glove up and catches it.
Self-defense.
Here comes Bosch. Bosch 0 for 3. Broken bat, soft liner to second. Beckham is right there, 2 gone. Well, Jim Leland's squad down to their final out. Here's Ryan Rayburn. 1 out away, the White Sox are from getting their 60th win of the season. And they would join New York, Tampa, and Boston, and Texas as the other teams with at least 60 wins in the AL. Rayburn had to walk his first at bat. Here's the 1-0. He went 1 ball, 1 strike. Ooh, look out. The foul tip staggered Pierzynski. 1-2.
Ooh, man. Wake up call.
One and 2 on Rayburn. It'll pop up third base side, should do it. Viciedo hauls it in. The Tigers go 1-2-3, and the White Sox with a 12-2 victory here this afternoon. Back with more.